All right. I thought I scheduled it for 5 minutes out, but apparently it went live right now. So that's awesome. So we'll give everybody a second. No one even knows that I'm doing a live or anything. So this was all impromptu. I wasn't expecting to do this. I was going to get a few minutes down the road before I started this because I'm driving for the next couple of hours to Chicago. And I figured it was a great time to update everyone with all the latest happenings. So, hope you enjoy a little ride with Garrett from Graf-X Motion, and we get to discuss whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. And I'll get you some latest updates on where I'm at with the latest stop motion, Vector Sigma Volume 3 that I'm in the middle of. And I see we got a couple people coming on already, and we'll get going here. Just to let you know, this is my first live in many, many years. So I'm just trying to do it through my phone while driving. So I have no idea how great the connection's going to be. And I also don't know just all the little ins and outs of how this app works. So if someone could just throw up like a hello or a hi, just to let me see if I can see. Okay, there, I can see some of the comments coming up on the screen. I wasn't sure how that exactly worked, so I appreciate that. Just so you know, the comments are going to come through, and I have to focus on driving first. So if I seem to have missed a comment of yours and that you're trying to get answered, just repeat it a couple of times for me if you wouldn't mind, and I'll do my best to answer it, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully I can learn this system as we go without being unsafe. So, all right. So while we're getting started here, I'll just go ahead and get everyone kind of up to speed. As you know, I recently put out a couple of videos wanting to try to get more involved with keeping everyone up to date on what's going on. We're trying to get a little bit more laser focused in on the stop motion side of things. We've been really busy on getting our company up and going here. I actually have a client for the physical, like video filmography and doing videos editing for that client there. And so I was working on some of their work earlier this week and getting our client work out the door. Got to pay the bills, you know how that goes. And so I wanted to get that stuff done. And I had a couple of one trip to Chicago earlier this week and another one coming up, that one I'm doing right now. So picking up my son. My son went to CES and in Las Vegas. And so him and his group went down there. He's got the Graf-X Tech channel. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check out his tech reviews. It's called Graf-X Tech. And I think you'll enjoy his content as well. And we're basically going to get going on that, and I'm going to pick him up here in a little bit. And other than that, I just wanted to get you guys some juicy behind the scenes info on what's all going on with Vector Sigma. So I'm sure you're well aware it's been a year or two, or 5 or 6 or 7 since the last time we got a release out the door. And it's one of those things where Vector Sigma is like my passion project. That is the thing that actually got me wanting to do stop motion. Is I had this story I wanted to tell, and that's what I wanted to do. Rivals, while I like it, I don't have the same passion behind it, primarily because it was a contest that started off as a contest, and then that's what it just evolved into something a little bit more, and now I want to continue it, and I have a plan for how Rivals will ultimately wrap into Vector Sigma. So that will be interesting to see how I pull that off. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that at some point. But ultimately, Vector Sigma is where it is for me. That's my favorite part. That's the one I want to do the most. It's one I have about, I think the last I looked in the outline, it's probably about 20 volumes. So there's quite a bit of story left to tell. Um, I'm going to make it used to be 10. It's now at least 20, and mainly because I've broken them up to be a little bit more smaller, bite-sized morsels. So I'm going to try to keep the videos more than that 5 to 8 minute stop motion range, versus more of the 9 to 15 minute that I was aiming for before. I think that will make it so I can release them more rapidly and keep them coming. So that's one of the things that I've kind of modified. So technically, volume 3 that you'll see is actually only half of the original volume 3 that I had planned. But I think it's actually going to be better this way, the way that I cut it and the way that it's going to work out now. I think you're going to actually like the way that I chopped them up a little bit better. I think they're going to fit together better. And so volume 4 will ultimately be was the original second half of volume 3. So I already have the voice acting for that. I already have a lot of the temp shots and like layouts for volume 4. So volume 4 will go much faster once I start getting into that one, comparatively to everything else. And then starting in volume 5, I'll be recruiting new voice actors and looking for people to help out with that. So if you guys are interested in doing any type of voice acting, I would love to hear some auditions. Probably in a few months from now. We don't need them right this second, but we're gonna need them soon. So we have some exciting stuff coming there. Right now, Vector Sigma Volume 3, I would consider it approximately halfway done. It's probably slightly more than half shot as far as like the actual animation, but some of the editing isn't done for all of it yet. And I'm looking into adding in some additional VFX shots, like some glowing eyes and things. But I'm trying to make them really subtle, so it just looks like the toy was actually alive, not like it's got like this big, obvious, like big glowing eye that was added after the fact. I wanted to try to make it look like it was more authentic and real, like the toy was lit up or something. So it's taking me a little bit longer to do the eyes because I really have to trace each of the shapes of the eyes and then animate them, to make sure the glow shapes correctly along with the figure. So there might be better ways to do it than I'm doing it, but it's the only way I know to do it. So it just takes a while. But I'm putting a lot of love and care into this. I want to make it as good as I can, but I also know I have certain limitations that I can't overcome yet. And that's just part of it. I just don't have any choice. So, but yeah, so there'll be certain things that I still will have wished I could have done better or differently with this one. But that's part of the learning experience too with this series, is I try to do something different or new in every one of these volumes, and try to like push myself in a new way every time, because I'm really wanting to make, I have a specific vision in my mind, and I'd love it to be just as grandiose as in my brain. But I also know these are physical things that have physical limitations, and there's only so much I can physically make them do. But I am definitely trying very hard to push myself each time to better my own animation, to better my own like sets and the way I'm doing things, and better visual effects, better editing, better camera angles. I'm trying to do everything. Each volume, I want you to see an improvement in my work. That's kind of the goal. So that's why sometimes I do these little animations, is I like to test ideas out and see if that's something that I'm going to try to do. My Vector Sigma will actually work. Also, it helps me to practice transformations, because those are hard. So if any of you guys have done stop motion out there and have tried transforming things in stop motion, it can be quite challenging. Stop motion, though, if you do it right, it can actually make it look very much like the toy's alive. And I really try, when I'm thinking about a stop motion and a transformation, I actually will sit there and I'll take the figure, the toy, and I'll sit there and I'll try to picture the camera angle I want it. And then, like, okay, if he was in this position and he was doing this action because he's chasing after this guy or he's running after this guy or whatever his action is, what would he do if he was a live thing? Like, how would he get up? How would he transform? What would he do? And I try to really think about those things, and that makes basically every transformation I do 100% unique. I don't have a set way or a set number of frames or anything that I do on a transformation. I literally think about that moment, that frame, that scene, everything that's around that whole experience, and I want to make sure that transformation fits that actual action sequence. So yeah, so it's pretty fun, pretty cool stuff, and really excited to share some of this with you. Some of the scenes that I shot, the sneak peek, I actually shot those 2 or 3 years ago. So those are animations closer to when I was doing all the stuff. In fact, all those with the Lego buildings, they're all, any shot you see with the Lego buildings are all older shots. And I have a problem now that I have to overcome. And that is with the Lego buildings, I have since switched out I don't know if any of you guys are Lego fans or not, but the modular buildings, they're on those different base plates and whatnot. Well, I have since switched them out and made everything into Mills plates. And so that way I have like everything, and I started put lighting into a lot of my buildings. So the problem with that is that all the roads are now like the road plates or not the old road base plates that I use in my animations. So I have to be careful now. I'm going to have to figure out a way to make sure everything looks the same when I have a few more filler scenes I need to shoot yet. And so when I go back and lay those buildings out the same way, I got to use the old road plate system, and I don't want to have to redo all of my stuff again. So it's going to be a big problem, but it'll be worth it. I'll figure it out, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, that's pretty much where. So Vector Sigma Volume 3 was essentially like 3 major sequences. You have actually technically 4 if you want to count the opening sequence. I did another origin story added onto that, so I kind of continued that, like how the Transformers ended up on Earth, in my world. And so I'm continuing that origin story with Volume 3, and that sequence there is done a little bit differently. It's done a little bit more in like a narration style. So that will be kind of neat, but it's still animated. We still have animated shots in there, but it's a little bit more like being told from a narration standpoint. And so we have that sequence. Then we have scene 1, which is where the sneak peek came out of, if you've seen that, hopefully. And that's basically a direct continuation of where Volume 2 left off. And then we have scene 2, which is the sequence is all about Ironhide and his team chasing after Starscream who's taken Spike. And so they're going after him, and they're confronted by Decepticons along the way to stop them in their tracks. And so then there's an action sequence between all of them. And then scene 3 is going to be back at Decepticon headquarters, and basically everything that happens there, and the interrogation of Spike. And so that way you get to see what happens there and how they plan to get to the key from him at that point. And that's where or Volume 3 will end. And then we will pick up Volume 3 with them coming back to the city in order to get the key and everything that happens with that. In Volume 3, you will see the Coneheads. They'll make, or sorry, in Volume 4, you'll see the Coneheads. They'll be in that one. You're going to see Sideswipe, Jazz, Sunstreaker. Let's see, who else is in Volume 3? I'm trying to remember. Or sorry, I keep saying Volume 3, but I mean Volume 4. Yeah, I'm blanking on the rest because there's some of it's going to be a continuation of the characters from the first 2 volumes, but those are the new ones that will be added in for sure. And so you're going to see some cool stuff with those guys. I have some really neat fight sequences planned out. And then we have in the actual Volume 3, the one that I'm doing right now, as the sneak peek showed, there we have Ironhide and Blue Streak and Trax and Smokescreen and Red Alert. They're the ones, going after them, and then they'll be fighting the Stunticons. So that's going to be a pretty epic scene. I have some really, really interesting stuff planned for them. So, in fact, I'm thinking about actually doing a live tomorrow. If you guys are at all interested in this or not, I don't know. But when I get down in the studio, I want to actually show off some of the stuff from the studio and show kind of the set that I'm working on, and maybe I can show off one of the last scenes that I just animated, which turned out really nice. I was really, really happy with it. And it's basically Red Alert tumbling in car mode and then transforming into guy mode while tumbling. And that animation shot, it just turned out really, really good. So I was really, really pleased with it. So maybe I'll show that off in the live for a little extra thing. That would be awesome. Yep. Yeah, I think I like to do that. So probably tomorrow in the around 9-ish, 10-ish in the morning, I'm guessing, somewhere in that ballpark. So yeah, so that'll be cool. I think you guys will really like that, and I want you to see the set and the studio. The studio is nothing amazing to look at. It's just a room that I have dedicated towards it. It's even kind of messy a little bit. So, but that's okay. I think it's good for you guys to see how we're working in actuality. Like, I don't think we should have to like sugarcoat everything and make everything look pristine and like it's a perfect environment. I think it's better for you guys to see it how it actually is and how we actually operate. And so that's why I want a lot of these behind the scene videos, these vlog videos, I want them to be a bit more unpolished, less edited, and just more raw, because I think that's a aspect of stop motion we don't get a lot of, because when people are trying to show it off or explain stop motion, they have a very specific plan in action there to make that actually to like show it off and make it so it's not so long too, because stop motion just takes forever. And so I get it, but at the same time you lose out on some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, why is that actually hard? Why does that actually take a long time? What's so challenging about different things? And I think all that's a big deal, and that's all needs to be seen just as much as everything else. So, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with Volume 3 right now. Definitely still got a fair amount of animation to go. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I'm gonna finish this in a week or two. It's gonna take me some time, but hopefully when you guys can see the progress, maybe every week or every other week, and see that I'm chipping away at it, and that the effort that we're putting into it and stuff, hopefully that'll just get you guys to appreciate what's going into these videos even more. And they just take a lot of time. And right now, you know, this is what I'm trying to do for a job. I took out my savings, quit my well-paying job, and decided to try to make a career out of this. And so hopefully I can, and hopefully it actually works out. So I want to make this a long-term, you know, job and a long-term business. And I want to be making lots of different stop motions and stuff. But I mean, at the same time, I have to figure out a way to pay the bills with this too. So so that's part of the reason too why I'm trying to get back into YouTube and things of that nature to, you know, supplement some income through there. But at the same time, I just really want you guys to enjoy the stop motions and be a part of all that, because that was what drove me to do all this anyways, is to be a part of all that. So that's what I want. So hopefully you guys really enjoy these animations as they come out, and you can just come along for the ride. I think that's really what I'm ultimately trying to do here, is bring you guys along for the ride here and really let you see and be a part of all this. So again, hopefully I'm not missing too many comments. I don't think there's all that many people on to generate a bunch, but again, if I'm missing anything that you want me to see, just do your best. They flash up a little bit, but like I said, I keep my eyes on the road most of the time. So, but anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them out here right now. But otherwise, after Vector Sigma Volume 3, I have to make the decision on whether to go to Rivals 3 or to Vector Sigma Volume 4. And right now they're both partially started. So they both, from my perspective, they have about the same benefits as far as like which one to go to next. I have the voice acting done for both of them. So it's just a matter of shooting the footage in both cases. So hopefully that will go pretty quick when it comes to, you know, that type of stuff. Oh, and by the way, the car auto steers and keeps me lane centered, so when I move my hands up, there is no danger. So what do I use for editing? So I used to use Final Cut for everything. And then in the last couple of years, I've actually switched to DaVinci Resolve. And so that's what I've been using now. And it was a bit of a learning curve. I honestly, for like standard editing, I think Final Cut's easier. But DaVinci's more powerful. The Fusion is way more powerful. You could do a lot more right inside of DaVinci, where I would always have to use different plugins and effects that I would have to pay for on everything else. So that was the only option I had. But yeah, so what I'm expecting to do here, just so you guys are aware, is I'll be releasing a series of videos that I'm going to call a mastery series. This mastery series is intended not to show you that I have a mastery of stop motion animation, but I do think I have a really good grip on what it takes to get a stop motion environment set up and what things you need to think about in order to do stop motion. So I'm calling it more of a technical mastery. Excuse me just for a second. So it's more like about, I want to help bring out and highlight what you need to think about in stop motion before you even move a person or a figure or a puppet for even one frame. Like, what really do you need? Because let's just face it, the part that excuse me, the part that takes forever with stop motion is the animation. That's the longest, hardest part, and it's the part you don't want to repeat. So why shoot a crummy animation? Your animation itself, like physically moving them, you might have all the motions down, you might have all the ease ins and the ease outs, and all that stuff, you might have all that down. But if it flickers really bad or your camera's bouncing all over the place, it's going to make your people seasick. they're not going to be able to really understand what's going on as well. You need to have, you know, an idea of lighting and setting things up. How do you want to, if you want to have motion in your camera angles, how are you going to do that? Are you going to use a motion control rig? Are you going to manually move the camera? If so, how are you going to keep it fluid? There's all sorts of tips and tricks for that. There's things you need to think about, just like, well, what do I even need to, what do I want this character to do? And how am I going to make him do it? Do I need to have supports? Do I need to have something that hold the figure up? Do I need to, and then if you do use supports, how do you connect it to the figure? Do you potentially damage the figure doing it? Do you drill a spike into its back? Do you clamp onto it somewhere that's maybe hidden? And then also making sure that those supports don't go over the top of anything that you're actually animating, because otherwise you can't paint out the support properly afterwards. So there's like all sorts of things you have to think about before you even start animating. And that's what this whole series is going to be about. I'm going to break it down into smaller chunks, and we're just going to step through each of the different components of what it takes to do a stop motion. And then eventually we'll get to the actual stop motion stuff too. But there's plenty of people out there that show off how to do walk cycles and how to do different animations and stuff, and that's all cool. But I really want to focus on more the technical side of things. And I'm not going to have the knowledge of every type of stop motion app. I'm not going to know all the lights, all the different things that are out there, but I can share what experience I've had. And I think that will be good for you. I saw something about DaVinci there, and I didn't quite see it. Let me see. Oh, you're downloading. Oh, DaVinci Resolve. Okay. Yeah, DaVinci is a really great app, honestly. I see there was quite a few comments that I missed out on here. Yeah, a lot of hellos, and sorry I can't take the time to read your guys' names, every one of them. So I apologize for that. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is a really, really good tool. You can do a lot with the free version, and even if you have to buy the studio, here's a tip. If you do want to consider buying the studio version, I highly recommend you look into their speed editor keyboard. So it's a physical keyboard that you would use, and it really helps like focus and speed up the editing process with this keyboard. The keyboard, I want to say, is like, you sometimes can even find them used. That's I found a renewed one that still came with the with all of its packaging and information, and I think I got it for like $180 or something of that nature. But it comes with a free license for DaVinci Resolve Studio. So if you buy the keyboard and get the free license, you're basically getting a whole keyboard for like the same cost or less, depending on how much you spend on the keyboard. And then you have the awesome, really nice hardware keyboard to work with for editing. So if you're at all really interested and really want to dive into DaVinci Resolve, I highly recommend looking at that, because it's a great way to get yourself into the full version. So sorry, I know it's getting kind of dark. Maybe I can try turning a little bit of a internal light on here. I don't know. That one's probably not going to help all that much. We could try this. I don't know if I'll be able to keep this on for long. It might be too distracting for other drivers. We'll have to see. But yeah, so that's basically what I would do. Is I would seriously look into, if you're at all interested in DaVinci Resolve, look into that keyboard. And it came with a free license, and it made a huge difference. And I really, really like editing with it. It makes things just a lot faster. So definitely check that out. I'm alive. I am alive and live and well. So we are going to get a lot of cool stuff going here. It's not going to be years like it was before. I promise you that. We are definitely hard at work. Things are going. We are getting there, and it's going to still be a little bit yet because I'm still in the middle of working on it. And these don't take. I mean, normally the first Vector Sigma series, the Vector Sigma Volume 1, it took me 9 months to do that, and that was from end to end. And so I'm probably longer in this one, mainly because it's been split up and it's been kind of inefficient for a couple parts of it. But I'm going at a pretty good clip now, and my brother also has been helping out with some of the animation. So that definitely helped get me a lot farther along than I was before. But I think the biggest problem that's holding me back right now is I only have access to one studio space. And so I have the same set up, and I don't want to tear it down because it's so big. It's so massive. And if I ever get like stuck or a creative block or just get tired of working in that one spot, I have nowhere to go to work on a different section in the meantime. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, so hopefully we'll to ourselves to a position in the near future to move into an actual studio space. That's the goal. Don't know how fast we'll get there, but we'll get there when the timing is right. That I do know. And then we'll hopefully have multiple studios where we can have different pieces of animations in different stages that we can bounce around to and have a bigger team working on them as well. So that's the goal, is to only grow from here, not slow down from here. So you should be seeing a lot more from us. Give us a little time to ramp up. We still have to, like I said, right now I'm the live filming of things and doing stuff that way. So that's just something I have to work on, and I have to do that too and juggle it with the stop motion. But I think at some point the stop motion will pay off, and it will work for our benefit. So if you haven't checked it out, I did put out on Patreon a couple of things. I'm not big at promoting this type of stuff. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And I did put the current render of Volume 3 in its entirety. You'll see it from start all the way up to the credits would roll, and I have the whole thing laid out, and you will see temporary pictures in some spots, a couple spots where there's just a placeholder, but maybe some words, maybe some music, maybe some dialogue. But in most cases, the footage is there. Maybe it's missing effects or whatever. Everything's in different states depending on what shot it's in. But if you want to see it, it's out there. You just gotta go onto the Patreon and be a part of that, and then you can see that entirety of Volume 3. And then every week or 2 weeks is my plan. As long as there's been enough changes, that I plan to render out a new version and put it out there every couple of weeks, at minimum a month, but probably every 2 weeks. And then the changes aren't rapid enough, I'll put it out every week. And that way you can see the evolution of that episode as it's going, and you can see each part as I'm working on it and making it a little bit better. And in Patreon, what I specifically am looking for is people that want to support the channel. That's true. But even more so, that I'm looking for people that want to be a part of the Vector Sigma story. They want to start seeing kind of like where I'm going with it. Yes, it'll spoil it for them. That's true. I get that. But I want to make sure that they have a voice to be a part of things. And if they have a better story idea that I didn't think of, I might very well adapt and move that direction. If it's, or maybe just like comments of like, hey, I saw you animated this one shot, but I think honestly, the parts of it that I think could be better, well, maybe I go back and do a reshoot on that. That might be the right time to do it. And I'm really looking forward to having partners through the Patreon side of things, and then them being a part of more of the behind the scenes. I'll be putting more of the behind the scenes stuff as I'm working, taking a quick video of this or quick video of that and throwing it up there. That's the stuff I'll be putting mostly on Patreon, and then a little bit of stuff I'll tease with the live streams here and there. I'll add a few things, but overall, that's kind of the plan. Is I just want to make sure that people that want to have access to the Vector Sigma stuff and any animation we're working on, I want them to be able to see it behind the scenes through Patreon. So if you're at all interested, I recommend you go check it out. And then other than that, I don't think I have much more to talk about. I still have a good hour or so left to go, but I don't think you guys particularly want to hear me ramble for another hour. So do you have any other questions or anything I can answer here? Do you ever do another Power Rangers? Yes, I would love to do another Power Rangers episode. So let's talk let's talk about Power Rangers. I honestly don't know if you're even still on, but maybe you'll catch it in a replay at some point. Power Rangers, that was a ton of fun. I really liked it. I'm a big original Power Rangers fan. I was growing up with it, and I just love the original stuff. And so to make that episode really felt like I was making, okay, cool. I was really excited about making that Power Rangers episode because I wanted to make it a little less cheesy than the original, but have the same feel of nostalgia and the feel of just a fun, awesome, epic episode in a few minutes, right? And so I really wanted to nail that, and I really think that I did. I think that one just really turned out. I watched that one over and over all the time. It's fun for me. And my animations, I like watching my animations. I enjoy them, and I make my animations for me first, and then for everything else after that. But I have to like my animations before I post them. So the Battle of the Primes, I laugh at those. I think they're funny. It's just they do it for me. I don't need everything to be a yeah, you got the same vibes. See, man, I loved it. But that's my only worry about doing another, turn it into a story. It wasn't meant to be a long-running story. I didn't have any real story plans. It was meant to be a one-episode story type thing. Clearly, I could move on from it. There's plenty I could do with that episode. But I would really want to make sure I get the right story. The other problem I have with Power Rangers is voice actors. It would be, I would, if I'm going to start doing Power Rangers, I would want to basically have more dialogue other than just one character. So that's pretty much, it was me doing Drakon, Zordon, and Lord Zed. I did all of them. Everything else was recorded, from a show or something. So I really don't like using recorded lines from TV shows and things. That is not my thing. It made sense in this particular episode that I was doing. But yeah, I don't want to make it worse. If I make another Power Rangers episode, I want it to be just as good or better than the first one. And that's honestly, it's kind of hard because I don't have the vision yet as to what that would be. Also, I had the nicer versions of the original Mighty Morphin Zords. And so it made it nice because they're a little bit more posable than the original toys and stuff like that. And I haven't collected all the other toys, and I have some of the Thunder Zords. I have some of the next ones, the Ninja Zords and stuff. I have some of those still from my childhood, but they're not great for animation. So I don't know. We'll see. Have to see if I can do something with them. And I know there's more. There's some third-party stuff coming out, some that are of different ones, and they're looking good. But it's a big challenge. And the scale is obviously a huge thing because they're the scale is obviously radically off between everything, and even the scale between bad guys and the good guys, and the Zords are too big, and you can't use the same action figure for the bad guy, and make them grow type thing. So it was just, everything about it is challenging, right? So it's, if you want to make it like an episode, it's going to be challenging. Now, if I do something completely unique and different, it might be okay. But that's why I used the Grimlock toy. So I thought, like, hey, Dragon Slayer, Dino Slayer, and she was the Ranger Slayer. I'm like, hey, it kind of works, and that Grimlock looked kind of like a bad guy figure, in my opinion. So I thought he would work for a bad Zord, enemy creature thing. So I thought it worked. But what do I do for the next one? I don't know, But hey, if you guys got any good ideas, I'd be willing to hear them. I haven't done all of the Lightning Collection figures, but I do have a fair number of them, and I have a couple of complete teams now. So I could look into some other teams, or like the Shattered Grid stuff, where mix mash teams. That's all possible, but I really want to just come up with a really, really fantastic story for that. So if you guys have any story ideas that you want to pitch, we can maybe look into collaborating, and then maybe we can turn that into animation. I would be totally cool with that too. So, but yeah, so yeah, excellent question on the Power Rangers thing. So let's see. How do you erase in DaVinci Resolve? Is that what you're saying? When you say erase, what do you mean? Just like, oh, you're saying like paint out supports? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, the painting out of supports, that's a big process. I will definitely be making a video on painting out supports. That is, I know, is an area where a lot of people need help on, and yeah, we can definitely go over some of that. The worst part is I don't know if I'll remember which features in DaVinci Resolve are part of Studio and which ones are free. So I may have access to some tools that I use that you might not have access to unless you have the Studio Edition. So that's one thing to think about. But I can tell you this. So the key thing about painting out anything, it doesn't really matter what tool you use. You need the same basic things for each of the stuff. You need to have what they call a clean plate. And so essentially you need a picture of the background that doesn't have the thing in front of it. And so this is where camera movement makes it very hard to paint stuff out. And it's much better to have your camera still on a tripod and do a still shot, because then you could take a picture of the background without anything in it, then put your characters in front of it, in front of the camera, do your shots, and then you use when you paint out, you're basically erasing the supports, and then the other clean plate that's layered underneath it shines through, and then you can't tell. And the more precise you make everything, the better the overall thing looks, and that's just kind of how that all works. So yeah, so I know that's super simplistic and it doesn't actually help you right now, but that is really the key thing, is making sure that you have the right background without the object, a separate picture of that, or a video. If it's in motion, it has to be the exact same motion. And this is where, if you start using motion control hardware, you can sometimes achieve a similar enough motion where it's precise enough where you can get the background, and then you can shoot it again with the animation as well, and then just line them up. Let's see. Would you ever dip your toes in Marvel or DC? So I like Marvel and DC, but I just don't have enough money to actually buy all the different kinds of figures out there, so I just don't collect them. So the number of Marvel and DC characters that I own are limited, very, very minor number of them. So that's one of the biggest reasons I haven't done any, is just because I just don't have very much. Even Star Wars, honestly, I don't really have a lot of Star Wars figures. So that's why even like the one with the Kylo Ren, I bought those Praetorian Guards, and I'm like, oh, these are really cool figures. I should do something with them. And then I got that Snoke in the throne. I'm like, I should do something. So I made sure I had a Kylo Ren and Star Wars one, and I thought that turned out pretty good. That was fun, like training session storyline, and I thought that they didn't use Snoke very well in the Star Wars movie, so I wanted to show him as more of like an actual boss and mentor, and like one that's trying to control Kylo Ren. But I also wanted to show Kylo Ren's power, how much capable he is. So I thought that was kind of fun to do that. I mean, I've often thought about, what if someone says, hey, what if I send you figures for 6 months and you animate something with them? I might, especially if we really think it's going to be the right type of animation, we have the right type of story or the right type of look, or whether it's and I'm thinking that's probably going to be more likely if someone approaches me to do something for an actual product placement or an actual commercial, an actual professional gig, if you want to call it that. I have been approached to that in the past. I was too scared to take them. I didn't want to screw it up, so I didn't do it. It was years ago, and I haven't had one since. Where did I go for a long time? Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but really it was just, I ended up, it was just mainly life that just kind of got in the way. I just had to balance my priorities. And the other problem is that I had some like really pretty bad back issues for a period of time. And I ended up having to get an adjustable bed frame so I could sleep better at night. And it did fit in our master bedroom with our king size bed and stuff. So I actually converted my studio into a spare bedroom for like a year and a half while I basically kind of worked through some of my back issues and stuff, and made it so I don't have to stay on that adjustable bed anymore. So now I'm finally back where I'm supposed to be, and I don't need that anymore. So I was able to convert it back to a studio. So that was part of it right there. It was just a bit of a health issue thing that I had to focus on. The other part of it was just, again, just making, my studio was always like also my office, and it was also like where I had all my collections and everything on display, and it was too much in one space. And so finally I'm just like, so I would let the studio kind of just get, the display tables get piled up on, and just turn into more of just an office for a while. And then finally I'm like, you know what, I need to get back to some of this, and then other things would come up, and that's just the way it was. It was just life. I just allowed other things to take priority. And then after a while, I just wasn't being fulfilled in my job. I was very good at my job. I worked in IT for a big bank, and I was doing quite well, but I just wasn't being fulfilled. And I really just kept dreaming about doing animation and stop motion and filmmaking and editing, and that's just where my passion was. And so I'm like, I need to make a change. So a year and a half ago, I quit my job, and I started trying to figure out what in the world does that mean. I should have had a better plan before quitting, to be quite honest with you, but I still felt it was the right time, so I did. So I did it, and I was also, it's like one of those things where sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, and you have to let go of the rope, undo the rope before you take the jump, because sometimes you have to have that faith that you're going to be able to do it, and you can't have your tether anymore. And I think that's kind of where I landed for a while. I'm just like, I just need to do it. And honestly, it was really hard. It was way challenging, a lot harder than I expected it to be. It was just a big challenge, and obviously I didn't know which way to go first. What should I start right with animation? Should I not? Should I do this? Should I do that? There were so many things I just wasn't sure what the best direction and route was. So that's really kind of what it was. Is there for a while is me just trying to find my footing, figure out which way the best thing was, trying to like get my company actually, do all the stuff to make an LLC and make your business legal and all this stuff. I had to learn a lot of things, and so I was doing that, and then we started getting back into the stop motion a little bit more. So we've been working on it for a while. It just no one's really known about it. So that's where we got to the end of this year, and I'm just like, I think we need to start sharing a lot more with people. It already, basically my channel is basically dead as it is, and I'm like, it's already going to take a while just to rebuild it and get people used to coming out here for content again. And I get that, and I'm fine with that. But I'm like, I really just need to start doing that before the animation's ready, so that way when I release it, there's actually people that actually want to watch it. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Yeah, you took a leap in 2022. Oh yeah. It's I'm saying taking a big leap like that though to do what you're passionate about, I think it's scary, but if you can do it, it's worth it. I think it's the right move. So I guess time will tell, right? But so far I still got food on the table. I still got a roof over my head. My wife still loves me. So, hey, I'm in good shape. I have 3 wonderful sons and a grandson now. So I have a little grandkid. So have you seen Transformers 1? Oh, yes, I did. That was really, really well done. Would I have done it the same way? No. I would have done things differently. But I think for what they did and how they did it, it was done very, very well. I will tell you this, though, and this may be a very unpopular opinion. The one character that just drove me nuts in that was Bumblebee. I did not like how they changed Bumblebee. Not that I wanted him to be the whole speaking through the radio thing again. I didn't want that either. But they basically swung the pendulum the other complete end of the spectrum and made him basically. Sorry, I'm going through a rough spot. Hopefully I'm back on here with you guys. It looks like the snow's starting to come down more here in Milwaukee. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought some of the gags he had was funny, like, with the knife hands and he accidentally cutting people and stuff. I thought that was kind of funny, but I also thought they kind of almost made him a little bit overpowered with those knives. Like he could like literally just cut through anything, but yet no one else could do anything like that. Not to that level. So I don't know. It just seemed a little weird. Overall, though, I love the interaction between Megatron and Optimus. I still would have done it differently personally. But I think they did a great job. The evolution of Megatron was super well done. Where he was, it's really interesting because he was one of those characters you could totally root for. In fact, it almost made it where Optimus was like more the reckless one, and so that I found interesting, and that was well done, because they kind of flipped roles almost, and where Optimus had to like get a little bit more matured, and D16 had to, he was the one that was like more level-headed and didn't want to bend the rules and stuff at first. But the progression of his anger and stuff throughout the show, very well done, and all the way up to the point where he accidentally shoots Optimus, but then decides to still let him go and not care. That was a strong moment, and I thought they did that. They nailed it, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's what I thought about that. Yep, I agree. It's very well done. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, it's really good. I'm very happy to see where they go with it. The animation, the quality of the animation, I thought was good. I don't know if I was a super fan of some of the designs. They're fine. I think I would almost prefer it a little bit closer to like the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron style, a little bit more. But it wasn't bad. I'm not like it. It's just a preference thing. So you like blue, I like red type preference. So, but overall, though, I think it was pretty well done. I'm sure there's a lot more thoughts that they put into doing something like that, because they have to make toys and stuff and products, and they want them to match up as much as possible. So I'm sure there's design considerations that go with for the toys as well. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of that. I have not been collecting any mainline figures like at all. I've not bought a single Transformers 1 figure. I haven't bought like really any of the main lines. But so don't expect much for animations from the mainline figures too much for me. So I've been really sticking with more the third party and masterpiece level stuff. I do have some other things, but most of it is of that caliber. And even that I've had to slow way down on. It's amazing how much not having an actual full-time job cuts into your toy buying budget. So it's really slowed me down. But I'm like, I have so many figures right now. I have so much that I can animate with. I need very little to buy in order to tell the stories that I want to tell. So there's a few things that I'm still getting and that I still want to do. Like I still think, I'm still not a big fan of some of the combiners that are out there currently, and I'd like to see some of the newer ones. I think some of the stuff Fans Toys is doing is really amazing. So I do have the new aerial bots for Fans Toys. But I decided to use X-Trans bots for the Stunticons. The sizes were right. Everyone else, the Stunticons, they tower over the Autobots, and I just didn't like that mashup as well. So I wanted the Stunticons to be a little bit smaller, and the X-Trans bots ones matched up the best in size wise, and it still gave me enough flexibility and animation to get that done. Yeah, I know it's been like 5 years. I get it. Yeah, I had one guy the other day be like, he sent a comment and he's like, and I was 11 when I first watched you, and I'm 18 now. I'm just like, I know. Sorry, you know. I can't go back in time and change anything, but we're here now, so we can just keep moving forward. So it'll be fun. We have a lot to do, a lot of things to catch up on. Hopefully, the next time I do a live, I'll be a lot more attentive to you guys. I apologize for that right now, but we'll make sure I do more. But I also want to do some. I don't know if you guys think this is a good idea or not, and I don't know if we have a big enough sample on here right now, but I was thinking of doing like, hey, if I'm going to sit down and animate for a couple hours, just turn on a camera and show off the Dragon frame where you can see what I'm animating and just watch me animate. I know it's not super exciting and it's like boring, but hey, we could at least talk about what I'm going through, and you'd see the actual process as it happens and what I struggle and go through for every frame. And I think having some of that, I don't think it should only be that content, but I think having some of that where people can see it with their own eyes and watch the process, I think there's a benefit to it. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I was thinking of possibly doing something like that at one point. But yeah, the snow's starting to come down a little bit more, unfortunately. Every now and then it kind of makes it look like I'm going through light speed with the Millennium Falcon right now. So, but maybe not quite that bad. But yeah, so I'll probably end the stream here. If there's any other questions, I'll try to see if there's anything I missed here. X-Transbot looks good. Never collected third parties. Yeah, and honestly, third-party figures are not for everyone. They are super expensive, and a lot of them are pretty fragile. Like, I have 3 of the drag strips, and they're all 3 are broken in some spot for that X-Transbots. And it's just the plastic in certain spots was really bad. And so, but I already committed to using it, so I ended up just buying another one, and because I couldn't get replacement parts. And so, and of course, it came in the mail broken. So it was like already cracked. And I'm like, oh, great. So, but yeah, that's, it is what it is. But I have like enough good pieces to make it work. And I think we're going to be okay. I'll tell you one thing real quick about that drag strip. So in one of the shots I recently animated, drag strip gets hit and he gets knocked off to the side. Well, when I was animating him kind of crumpling up a little bit, one of his arms fell off. And I decided to leave it in the animation as though his arm got like actually severed off of him. And then a little bit later on, now when they have a little fight scene, I'm actually going to have one of the, I haven't figured out if I'm having drag strip or red alert, but they're going to have a little tuffle where they fighting a little bit, and I'm gonna have one of them pick up the arm and smack the other one with it. So, so I decided, hey, why not just embrace the broken part and go with it? So that's what I'm gonna do. So that was a little ad hoc add-in to the animations that you'll see. So now someday when you see that guy get smacked in the face with a drag strip's arm, you'll know that was because that toy was broken, and I just went with it. So. There you go. More behind the scenes action right there. So, all right. Well, I'm going to call it here. It's been just over an hour. I just want to thank you guys for jumping on and being a part of things. And if I missed any of the comments in here, what I'll try to do is I'll try to review them, and maybe I can like leave some comments on the video. Or if you want to if you didn't get a question answered when this live gets posted, just go ahead and put the comments out there underneath, and I will be sure to respond and get the answers that you were looking for, because I definitely don't want to miss out on that. Yeah, I would love for you to keep voicing for me. That would be fantastic. So very excited to get my voice actors back. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't know how fast it will happen and when it will occur, but I really want to get to the point where I can start paying my voice actors, because I really can't tell you how much the voice acting makes a difference in these. And the better they are, you know, the more I appreciate them. And it's just, I would say I need to be able to earn income off of this stuff first. But once I start like earning something off of these videos, I really want to be able to share parts of it with the voice actors. So that's just the thing I want to do. So hopefully that will be coming. I don't know how fast. I got to get profitable first, but once we're there, I definitely want to start hiring the voice actors instead of just using volunteers. So, but anyway, yeah, I think honestly, it's the least that we could do, and we should be sharing what little bit we get with the community anyway. So. But anyways, I'm going to take off here, guys. I'm actually driving through Milwaukee. The snow's kind of coming down, so I probably should pay attention a little bit better. But I just wanted to thank you guys for jumping on, and thank you guys for all the times that you've watched and been a part of things in the past. Thank you for the ones that grew up with me. And hopefully we get to know each other a lot more over the next couple of weeks and months as we do more of these and we get more and more content out there. And I just, again, really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for joining and jumping on, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.